odabrati da uzme reč. Izvolite, ekscelencijo.
Poštovani poslanici, velika mi je čast da budem u zemlji u kojoj se osjećam kao kod kuće. Dragi premijer, dragi ministri, dear ambassadors, friends, it is really an honor for me to be here in the home of Serbian democracy. It is always an honor for me to address a parliament. Having been a member of a national parliament myself, I missed some of the parliamentary dynamics, so it's a good opportunity for me also to get a little bit of that. In the Italian parliament, I have a long experience with that. Thank you for offering me this opportunity. As we start the reflection on the future of the European Union, my message to Serbia and to the whole region is that the future of the European Union will not be at 27, because for one member state that will eventually leave the Union, new member states will come in, and I am convinced Serbia will be one of them. I remember very well that during my second visit to Belgrade, my first one in this capacity, Prime Minister Vučić and myself were standing in front of the press in 2015, and I was saying clearly that we would have opened chapters for negotiation within the year. At that time, many were skeptical about that, and still we did it. Thanks also to your work, your determination, and I would like to thank this Parliament, all of it, and the government, and Prime Minister Vučić for the hard work we did together, and that is already bringing excellent results. The direction you choose for Serbia does not only matter for your citizens, but it matters for millions of proud and hopeful Serbians. Your decisions here, because I guess you also take decisions on top of this, your decisions matter for the stability of the region, but also for the entire European continent. Over the past few years, the direction you have chosen for Serbia has been very clear. Serbia is moving steadily on its path towards the European Union, with important results. Just days ago, the beginning of this week, we opened 2 new chapters in our negotiations, after 4 other chapters were opened last year. And I know very well, opening chapters is not necessarily the thing that your citizens expect, but this translates into real reforms that make a difference for real people, for businesses, for economic growth, for rule of law, justice, and for your citizens. You have taken bold and decisive steps towards change to move your country forward. You see better than anyone else the huge potential of this country and of the Serbian people. So you are right to be ambitious. Today I'd like to assure you that we are ambitious too. My speech is long, so prepared. We care about Serbia. We care about Serbia, we care about its present and about its future. Because both your present and your future is linked to the present and the future of the European Union. Not only the door of the European Union is wide open for Serbia, we look forward to welcoming you inside our community. This is not a distant dream, this is a concrete project we are together working on. I believe our union will not be complete as long as Serbia and all the Western Balkans will not join our family. This country and this region lie at the very heart of Europe. The history of Europe was written in these lands throughout the centuries. I just learned a few hours ago that 18 of the Roman empires were born in these lands. Our ties go back in history some thousands of years. It's a history with many dark pages, indeed. It's a history that has too much violence in it, in this region, but also in the rest of Europe. But it is also a history of groundbreaking scientific discoveries and noble traditions transmitted throughout the centuries. It's a history that deserves to be represented better than this. It's a history that needs to be honored through a joint celebration of our European identity. It's a history of art, literature, science, rights and liberties. It will only mean that Serbia joins the Union as soon as we manage to advance together. I can only mention one thing that makes Serbia part of our common European heritage. It is Serbia that gave birth to one of the first constitutions of Europe back in 1835, based on the separation of powers and on the protection of all citizens before the state. Our common future, so, has deep roots. They're strong. It is based on our common history, but I would like to stress this. It is based on the strength of our relationship in the present and the need we have of each other for the future. The European Union is already the first trading partner for Serbia. Let's talk about business. Serbia is seeing in the European Union the first trading partner. Almost two-thirds of your exports are headed towards the European Union, and more than three-quarters of foreign investments in this country come from the European Union, creating jobs and opportunities for Serbians every single day. We have a very clear, immediate interest in deepening our cooperation. And in fact, our cooperation has already intensified. When we worked on the European Union Global Strategy, for instance, for foreign and security policy, my team came here to Belgrade to discuss together priorities and expectations, because we want to discuss and plan the future of our union together, because we know you will be part of that union. The challenges you face are the same challenges we face. We are together in that. Being it the fight to transnational organized crime, being it the management of migration or refugee flows, being it ensuring energy security, or overall the security of our citizens. It is not idealism that tells us we are bound together. It is realism and interests that tell us that we need each other. This message becomes even more important today, in a delicate moment for this region and for the whole of Europe. The impressive progress of Serbia and of all the Western Balkans is endangered by a growing sense of uncertainty in the world and in the region. We live in a fragile world in constant evolution, and the global balance of power is shifting. Sometimes it's not even clear where the real power truly lies. The pressure on this delicate region is growing. Peace itself cannot be taken for granted anymore. Stability today requires a greater investment from the whole of us, because without peace and without reconciliation, progress in any other field is at risk. First of all, in the field of economy. This was the original intuition leading to the birth of a united Europe exactly 60 years ago. We will celebrate 60 years of the Treaty of Rome in a few weeks from now. After we had fought each other for centuries, and in the most violent war humanity has ever seen, the Second World War, Europeans realized that it was much more convenient for all of us to establish a regional economic cooperation, to do business together, rather than to do war to each other. And the European Union was born like this. It's how it started, an economic cooperation project. Then it grew as a peace project, and it is still the most successful peace and economic project in human history. The people of Italy, Germany or France, we understood that none of us could prosper in war times, while all of us could benefit from peace and cooperation. Instead of waging war for our borderlands, we turned those regions into the powerhouse of our common growth. And it worked, and it still works, despite everything. To preserve growth and prosperity in this region, peace and stability are essential. And Serbia's importance to regional stability is impossible to overstate. So I'm particularly grateful to you, to your government, to your Prime Minister, to this Parliament, all of it, for Serbia's continued commitment to this European Union integration path, but also to regional cooperation and dialogue. And yet, our common achievements are still very fragile and precarious. A new destabilization of this region would hamper your economic development, scare foreign investors, and I'm not sure this is what your people want, endanger the progress you have so hardly worked for. All of this is at risk. There would be no glory for anyone if a new escalation of tensions erupts. There would be problems for all. This is why we are investing so much energy in the Belgrade-Pristina dialogue and in regional cooperation. The entire region is going through a very, very delicate moment, and this country is no exception. If you count on me to get tired of this, you're miscalculated. The entire region is going through a very difficult moment. And I understand you have a long electoral campaign to run, so maybe you need your voice to speak to your citizens. Extreme polarization and resurgent ethnic tensions. I know it's difficult, and history is recent. But let me tell you, Serbia's role is key, is crucial, not only for Serbia, but for all of us. You have a big responsibility in your hands. Serbia has always lived at the crossroads of different worlds, and the traditional labels of East and West have never been enough for this country. You have taught us this, and you should not simplify your identity with one label rather than the other. You have chosen to defy the traditional classifications. Your identity, you taught us, your identity is both Eastern and Western, and unique at the same time. And this has made you, Serbia, the pivot between worlds and cultures, in constant dialogue with both sides, reaching out beyond past and present fracture lines. And I am more than confident that Serbia will continue to live of this richness. Let me tell you that I see a very important place for Serbia and for this vocation inside the European Union, inside the European Union. Europe today is a global power. Some don't like it, but this is the reality. It is an autonomous player and a cooperative power in the international arena. We define our interests, our values, and we look for partners sharing our principles and our interests as well. Membership of our union is not and will never be a declaration of hostilities against anyone. We do not do politics against others. We find common grounds, we build bridges, and we listen to each other. Our mentality is not based on blocks or spheres of influence. We know that reality is much more complex than that. It's not black and white, never. We do not define our identity against anyone. We are a union for peace, for democracy, for rule of law, for economic growth. These are our goals. This is what we want for our citizens in the Union, in all of Europe. And I know this is what you want for your citizens too. And these are the foundations for cooperation with our partners, the fundamental of our common agenda. On economic growth, Serbia has achieved impressive results in recent years. I was looking at the economic growth forecasts, and I think you can be proud of it. This is thanks to the reforms you managed to put in place. Serbia can continue this change, and the accession agenda includes all the right tools to do so. With a stronger rule of law, with a more predictable business environment, with better services for all citizens, Serbia will also attract more investments from abroad and create new jobs. You're now entering an important electoral campaign. You've entered it already, that is quite self-evident. And the people of Serbia will have the opportunity to choose democratically, rationally, listening to the arguments, listening to the real facts and proposals. You are also facing the opportunity to choose a vision for your future. Whatever the outcome of the vote, the European Union looks forward to working with the new President and with the new government on Serbia's path towards the European Union. In such an important moment in this country's history, it is crucial that all the people of Serbia, all of them, engage and find their place in the fundamental choices you make. And here, the role of members of parliament is crucial. You are the vital link between citizenship and institutions. You have a special responsibility to play. Inside the European Union, for far too long, we forgot to talk about the real benefits of the European Union for our citizens. This whole process that we call the European Union integration path sometimes sounds technical and even abstract, but it is concrete, it is real, it makes a difference for businesses, for citizens, every single day of our life. And it is about a better bureaucracy, one that helps the citizens and businesses instead of standing in their way. It is about an independent and fair judicial, one that business people and citizens can really trust. It is about connections across Europe, so that our exports, including your exports, can be traded more easily and boost growth, including in Serbia. So I'm sure this agenda is one you all support. Serbia has done a lot in recent years, and now you can keep working for bringing this country forward, as Serbs ask for. You can be a partner for stability in the entire region, in the Western Balkans, and you can advance the country on the path towards the European Union. And indeed, you can enter the European Union as a full member state. I thank you very much. I wish you a peaceful electoral campaign, a fruitful work in the Parliament, and I thank you once again for the honor you've given me to address you in this wonderful hemicycle. Thank you.